everyone. It is I, Sunny Secular. I am the writer of sunnyseculargenxer.com here on YouTube and Twitter. Wanted to talk about a documentary that I saw yesterday. The bad part is I can't find it anymore. It was on YouTube yesterday. When I went back to try to find it so I could put the link in my video, it was gone. I don't know if they were forced to take it off, but I do know that it's on Oxygen. The name of the documentary is called The Witnesses, and it's basically a documentary about the people who have come forward who went through child abuse, sexual assault, and come to find out that there were databases, computerized databases with information that the heads of the Jehovah's Witnesses religion, basically they knew about the pedophiles who were in their organizations and they didn't do anything about it. That's like the long version of it, narrowed down. Reason why I came on here is because after watching that video, I cried for the ladies. I cried for different reasons. I was crying listening to their stories and how they were trying to tell people and nobody were believing them, and how they came forward and they were the ones who were treated as the violator instead of the victim. I also cried because I could relate to their story and I could imagine how it felt, because I too was a Jehovah's Witness. I was born in. If you saw my other video of my XJW story, if you haven't, I'll link it in here, probably, I don't know, either up here or after this video so you could watch it. But a lot of the things that I would explain in that first video is basically what was going on in the documentary. Like I said, it's on the Oxygen channel. This is hard for me because when watching the documentary, a lot of old memories formed, and I know that wasn't why the maker of the documentary was doing it. He was telling the story of the victims, but there are lots of victims. And when I saw the documentary, the first thing I thought was that their organization is going to try to make it seem like it was an isolated event. Oh, it was just in this state, or it's just in this place. It's not. It's worldwide. More and more people are coming out. And my story is that the person who molested me was not an adult. He wasn't an elder. He was the son of an elder. I was pre-K or kindergarten, and I'm not sure how long it lasted because I literally erased a lot of stuff. Not intentional. It's just that I can remember bits and pieces, but I don't know. I guess my memory just deleted the parts that I didn't want to remember. But the person who molested me, he was older than me. Like I said, he was the son of an elder. My father was an elder and his father was an elder. And so they used to have gatherings over to their house. And the kids would go downstairs and the adults would stay upstairs. And so that's when he would start touching me and everything. And I I didn't know what was going on when I was younger. I just knew that after a while, I just didn't want to go over there anymore. I don't know what happened between the adults, but it was a time I remember they were arguing and we stopped going. So, yeah, that was only half of it. The documentary was mainly about people kids who were sexually abused, but it didn't mention that the organization also hides other things besides that. In the documentary, the one of the elders that were there, he was stating that if you were to go back into their database, then you would find murderers and killers and pedophiles and all other sorts of things that they don't tell the congregation is in the congregation amongst them. They look at everything like you're not supposed to go to the authorities. You can only let the organization take care of it. And pretty soon the end of the world is coming, so it won't matter. But what wasn't mentioned was that it's more than just sexual abuse. In my family, I grew up with my parents, both of my parents. My father was passive aggressive. He was quiet. My mom was the person who was aggressive, and she was physically abusive. People in the congregation, in the organization, they knew about her and told us, because it was four of us. I have two sisters and my brother. I was the oldest. And they told us, my great-grandmother, the people in the congregation, my cousins, everybody said, their words were, you know how your mother is, she doesn't think straight. Don't make her mad and nothing will happen. And then they gave us the same thing too. Was like, the end of the world will come and you won't, you're not going to make it to be that much older. It was always the end of the world is coming. And so you won't have to worry about it much longer. That doomsday cult is just... I was shunned for not becoming a Jehovah's Witness. And there are a lot of witnesses who say there's no such thing as shunning if you weren't baptized. That's a lie. That's a lie. I was shunned for not becoming a witness. The person who basically got me kicked out of my home was my mom. One day she was hitting my head against the window in the kitchen, and I told her to stop hitting my head on the window. And she said, if I break this glass and you die, I'll just tell them you did it. And I got angry and I hit her. She told my dad that I hit her. She told everybody in the Kingdom Hall that I hit her. And she told my father that I couldn't stay because I was evil. And so they told me I had to leave. I'm sorry. They hid the physical abuse. They didn't tell anybody what was going on. My cousin knew what was going on. She didn't even tell nobody because she was in the Jehovah's Witness too. Other people were Jehovah's Witnesses and they knew. My abuser, his brother, married my cousin, and he was in our family. So I couldn't really say nothing because the person who abused me was now in our family. After I was kicked out, I was on my own, and I just worked everything out from there. My mother had mental problems. She was taking medication. I'm not sure how much my father knew after seeing the documentary about how elders are supposed to proceed with hiding things and shredding papers and things like that. I can't even say that he was unaware. All these years I was saying, well, maybe he didn't know what she was doing to us, or maybe he didn't know what happened, because he would stay gone at work. And he left us with her. And I remember being so young and saying, I wish somebody would save us. They have to know what's going on. If they knew what was going on, they would save us. Nobody ever saved us. The documentary just came out in 2020 on the Oxygen Channel. It's wonderful that everything is coming out. But what I want to know is, what are you going to do about all of us? What are you going to do about the late 70s kids, the 80s kids, the 90s kids? What are you going to do about all of us? Now that the documentary has been out and you know how the organization is, if anything that's outside of the organization is considered to be from the devil, and that's the way they train everybody. They teach them that if you get put out, it's because of something you did. You must have sinned. If you was to join this organization after seeing all of this, and they have a way of saying things, they'll say, oh, well, those are just apostates. Those are people that got put out and they're angry and that's why they're making this. No. We're the kids that grew up. That's why we're saying something. When I was younger, I stopped eating for a long time. I didn't know until now that may have been a result of the things that happened to me and me keeping it in. I was anorexic and didn't even know what anorexic was because they hadn't talked about it back then. It was 2 years after my problem was going on that anorexia and bulimia started coming on TV. Most people say, well, there's no way you can be anorexic. How would you know to do that if nobody ever taught you? I just stopped eating. I wasn't trying to be thin. I wasn't trying to be this or that. I just stopped eating. Nobody saw the signs. I stopped talking to people. Nobody saw the signs. It wasn't like I had a lot of friends and family, because if they weren't Jehovah's Witness, we weren't supposed to have any. No signs. You know how people get upset when teachers and other authorities get in family business when they see something wrong? Nobody saw us. Nobody saw us. I'm hoping that after seeing these videos and seeing other people's stories, people wake up. And I'm not saying every time you see something wrong, you put your cape on and try to swoop in and without knowing the details. I'm saying don't let a generation go past when other people, when people start coming out and telling what happened when they were a child, now that they're adults. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying I wish somebody would have saved me when I needed it. And the effects of what happened when we were children, teenagers, nothing changes. My father still, my kids are grown. The youngest is 17, and then I have a son who's in his 20s, and my daughter, she's in her 20s. They've never had their grandfather and grandmother come and visit, ever. When they were little, all the times that they were seen is because I used to drive out there until I stopped driving because nobody was coming to see me. My mother had favorites, so there were some of us that she talked to and some that she refused to talk to. Guess which one I was? My father didn't talk to me for years until after his second wife died. Then he would at least pick up the phone, but he still never comes to see me. By me putting this video out, taking a chance of him seeing it, he's probably not going to talk to me again. And I'm okay with that. Leave your comments below. I just need things to change. People need to realize that these religions that are so-called religions fall under the category of cults. And even the ones that don't fall under the category of cults, they have people with illogical thinking because everything is according to a book that really can't be verified with the authors. And it doesn't have any good morals in the book. I'm out.